When people are coming out of long-term substance abuse or re-entering society from prison, the top reason that they fail is a lack of stable housing.
A lot of these people don't get a second chance, and if they're on the street, yeah, they're not going to be model citizens. They're going to rob and steal and do whatever they got to do to survive.
When I was still in the program, I was still living in the dorm, I was working at Barnes, and then we moved into this house. This was a transitional house that Pathways provided for us.
I'm Chris Collins. I'm the Chief Operating Officer at Pathways for Change and the Director of the Men's Program. So I'm in charge of all the operations for all of our programs, and many years ago we began to think about we needed some transitional housing. It was just aftercare. We wanted a place for our men to go that were graduating from the program that was not in a secured setting like a jail or anything like that, and that was all the space we had. So we began to look for a place to have meetings and to maybe get some housing for them temporarily, for those that didn't have any family, nowhere to go, and were struggling with jobs at minimum wage. And the Clinton Cox Residence is that extra piece in transitions. And what we're talking about in transitions is that substance abuse is a complex disorder and a complex illness, and it takes a long time to overcome it. That continuum care that we have at Pathways for Change is extraordinary. We have prevention, intervention, treatment, and aftercare. And transitions is our aftercare.
I made the decision when I had an opportunity not to go to Pathways, because I knew at that point that I was done and I was ready to lay down and listen to somebody and do what I needed to do. My name's Dale Chasen. I'm 36 years old. I'm a graduate from Pathways for Change in Pensacola. I've been out of the program for a year and a half now. I will be coming up on 3 years clean, and I was unbearable to live with because I stole everything. I didn't. There was no room for anything to get better, until I did something like Pathways.
Dale came into the program and he was sick and tired of being sick and tired. And he knew that if he didn't change his life, he was going to lose everything, including his life.
If you would just get off the drugs, then you'll go back to being the guy that I knew you could be and always love. And then when he would go to rehab and take away the drugs, he still wasn't the guy. They forced him to care about himself.
And that's what the Clinton Cox Residence goal is, that the men living here, by the time they leave, they're self-sufficient, signing their own lease to live somewhere. They've got a job where they can actually take care of themselves and maybe their families. And if you do that, the odds of them being successful in recovery go up exponentially.
I'm John Boutwell. Been working here my whole life. My dad started this company in 1973, so we're a 41-year-old company. We give the guys that come out of Pathways a full-time job. We give them an opportunity to start working, and we bring them in on our new construction side. I couldn't be more pleased with the men I have that come from Pathways for Change.
He knew who I was when I wasn't getting high. So he knew my heart. That's what he told me, because I asked him when I went back to work there, I said, man, in my past, is that going to affect the way that y'all treat me at the job? And he said, man, I know what your heart is when you're not doing that. He's like, and that's what I want.
I wanted him to come work for me because I knew what kind of value he could bring to my company.
And that's the whole goal. You have to be productive. You've been a consumer your whole life, and now we want you to be a productive citizen. And so that's what we teach them how to do through the Transitions program, taking on challenges that they have, giving them the support they need to face them, and then they learn how to do it on their own.
And Pathways, I really started believing that I didn't have to suffer no more if I didn't want to, that my life could be good, and which it is great now. You know, my life's never been better, ever, than it is now.
Well, this is important because these guys, they need a second chance. And people like me sitting behind the desk are the only ones that can give it to them.
It was kind of one of those things where, you know, that's what worked for me, is that he was a man again.